Anthony Hartwig here. We are live with a Hubbard swimming player profile, first of the year, and it's a special one too. Noelle Cheney joins us from Hubbard. Noelle, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
You and a couple of your teammates are going to be talking to us in the next few days here because Hubbard won the NE8 swimming championships for the first time in their program's history. So, first question is, of course, talk about the emotions of that. I know a lot of hard work went into it, and it was one of the goals you had this year. What was it like to realize that the goal was a reality?
It was really special to us, especially with one of our seniors because it was she's been swimming throughout almost the entire time that we've been in this conference and competing for this, and we all really try really hard to cheer each other on, and it just we it, there was really it's hard to put into words what we felt.
What about the day of? You're getting ready for it. You're trying to put yourself in the right mental state. I bet you knew it was definitely a possibility. It was definitely there for your grasp. It didn't come out of nowhere. Um, what was it like? Just kind of getting yourselves in the right mindset and trying to go and compete the best you could on that day.
Um, for me personally, I get a little anxious on those things, but I think I am a lot better when I have those pre meet nerves. The most nervous that I was in that last race because we were told we were really close in points. So we were like, we need to beat Poland in this race. And it just, the, I, it's it's the nerves. Oh, goodness. I don't know. It was
They go away as soon as you hit the water, right? It's just the
that,
thing where
yeah.
it's just like boom, you hit it, and your body takes over. What are some of the things that went through your mind? Like you said, last race, you close points. You had to beat Poland this last race. What is it about this team that you can say that lets them make those clutch wins and let you come together as a unit and make that clutch win in the last race?
Um, I think the four of us in that last relay, we've been pretty much in that relay together the entire season because our coach was like, "Oh, we need these faster people there." But the people who weren't in the race, you could hear them from in the water, no matter how concentrated you were, and you had everybody around you cheering for you, and it just the excitement of it being the last race and you being so close, it just your focus, you just I went so much faster that race because I knew that this is what we had to do, and I had all these teammates behind me cheering me on, and it was just really special.
Let's talk about your swimming and diving kind of journey. When did it start? When did you first kind of get yourself into the pool, and when did you start falling in love with the sport and realizing it was something you really wanted to work on, and it was something that you wanted to really better yourself at?
For me, I started swimming really young. After I stopped um, cheerleading, I wanted to go into a sport, and I knew swimming would be just as much of a workout as that was. So I swam for 2 or 3 years when I was in fourth and fifth grade, and around that time. But after that, I stopped for a little bit. But this year, I was thinking about it and I was like, I really loved all the people that I met in swimming. And I was like, I just really want to go back to that because it helped me with my social skills and it helped me and I got to stay in shape and I just really loved it.
Was there a moment when you realized like, hey, I got a thing for this? Like this is something I can be really good at. And then the work ethic even went up higher because you realized, your ceiling was really, really high and you could really get yourself to far places.
I don't really think there was an exact moment that I for sure felt like that, but I started this year and I was like, I don't think this I it was between this and one of my other sports for me. But with all of the people there and with everybody saying, "Oh, Noelle, this is like," my mom told me, she looked at me and she said, "Noelle, this is what you need to be doing. You're pretty good at it. This is what you need to be doing." And I agree with her, because with all of the people there, plus that aspect, I was just like, I feel like this is where I need to be.
So I'm really interested with when we talk to swimmers, because swimming is a sport where it is a very team sport. You have your relays, you have your teams backing you. You can't do it without them, but it's also kind of individual, because when you get in the pool, it's just you in the water, and you have to outswim the people next to you. How do you balance, competing with yourself and trying to be the best you can in that individual nature of the sport with what you need from the team and the team nature of the sport as well?
For me, I am very much so a person who thinks a lot before things happen. But with swimming, you really can't do that. My coach tells me all the time, he's like, "You can't think about this. You have to just swim. You just have to let your body do all the work." And for me, I get really anxious. I get up on the block and I'm about to take off in the race, and I'm like so much in my head that I don't know what to do. But then once you take off and you get in the water, the only thought in your head is out touch the person next to you, out touch the person next to you. So really, it in between races, it's a mental thing. Like, you need to get yourself ready, and sometimes it's hard to do that. But once you hit the pool, there's no other thoughts in your head other than out touch the person next to you.
I think swimming is also very unique in the sense that a lot of people don't understand what swimming shape is. Like, it's not like, hey, we're gonna go jump in our family pool and swim the pool back and forth. Like, there's a swimming in shape that you guys have to get into. Can you talk about kind of what work goes into getting in swimming shape, and what kind of workouts and things you guys do to get yourselves in that physical state?
Um, for Hubbard especially, we since we have a weight room at school, our coach has weightlifting on Tuesdays and Thursdays before school, and then a couple days a week we have dryland too, which is basically just like a couple workouts for like half an hour before we get into the pool, and then each day we have designated um, like I don't know exactly. Like, we have distance one day, we have kicking one day. One day we focus on one stroke, and then another day we focus on another stroke, and that's about it.
What is your favorite stroke in the medley?
I love breaststroke. I always have. That's just what I feel like I'm best at.
Let's talk about some role models that you have in your life, and it could be in the pool, it could be outside the pool. When you're in one of those days, maybe where it's like, man, swimming is not on my mind, or it's one of those hard days where it's harder to go and work. Who are the people that you listen to, and the people that you kind of hear in your head to keep you going?
My parents are big ones, but it's mainly my grandpa. Before and after every like competition or anything that I have, my grandpa always like sits me down and gives me like a pep talk, and he's like, "Look, I know you're stressed out about this, but it doesn't matter to me how you place, as long as you tried your best and you put everything out there that you could."
Let's talk about your schoolwork as well. You're a student athlete. Student comes first in that word for a reason. Talk about your schoolwork, what you like studying, and what are some of your favorite subjects.
Um, I this year I really enjoy chemistry. I'm a 4.0 student, and my goal is to become an orthodontist. So those math and science classes are really like important, and I really like those classes.
All right, so not only do you keep up your athletics, but you also keep up your schoolwork, and you do it in the sense of a 4.0. What's your strategy in balancing what you have to do to put your time in the pool and put your time into the sports, trying to balance a social life, being a kid, and also obviously giving what you need to give to your schoolwork to get a 4.0?
Um, it's interesting. Interestingly enough, it after school, I have a couple periods during the day that like I take difficult classes, but I have a couple periods in the day where I'm able to get some of my schoolwork done, and I try to get as much schoolwork done as I can during the day, unless and if I don't finish it, I get to the pool, I do all my practice time and stuff, and I get home. I'll eat dinner, and then if I need help on something, my dad will always help me. So usually I have a good hour or two when I get home to just be a kid, and like
Mhm.
I'll message my friends and we'll go do something. But
You know, we talk to a lot of athletes that have had a lot of successes, and we talk to them about the stresses that success can bring and the expectations and the pressure. What about the pressure of having a 4.0 grade point average? Does that ever bring you kind of like extra pressure where you're like, I really have to keep this up and I'm on the mountaintop and there's nowhere to go but down if you have a 4.0? Does that ever kind of get in your head where you're putting a little bit extra pressure on yourself scholastically?
um last year it definitely did, because it was freshman year, my first year of like high school, even though I took two high school classes in 8th grade. But this year I feel like it's a lot easier to handle mentally, because the more you're in that boat, the easier it is. And as long as you study and you and as long as I study and I try, my parents aren't like really big on like pushing me to like they're big on pushing me to keep the 4.0, but they're like, if you try your best and you can't maintain it, it's not that big of a deal to us as long as you're trying. But I do put a lot of pressure on myself to keep that 4.0. As I said, a lot more last year than this year, but it's still, the pressure is there.
Have you always been a really good student, or is that something that you think you've developed over the years and you've kind of gotten, flexed your student muscles a little bit?
Um, my whole family have always been like really academically, like really, we've always been a really academic family.
Mm.
Me and my little brother especially. So really, I wouldn't say it's definitely a skill that you have to learn, but it's also a skill that we've had.
Right. You already said you're a sophomore, but you already have this career path in mind. You want to be an orthodontist. And what kind of is driving you to that path? And what is something that makes you know that that's where you want to go so early in your high school career?
Um, for me, um, orthodontics has always been something that I wanted to go into. I got I always went with my little not my little brother, my older brother, to his orthodontist appointments. And in 4th grade, since I'm gifted in a couple subjects, I had to do extra projects in 4th grade. So it was, what do you want to be when you're older? So I was able to make a whole presentation on orthodontics, and my orthodontist let me shadow him for a day and told me about all the stuff that he did. And it's just always been like a peak of my interest, because you see, I know how I felt when I had braces. They are a pain, but once you get them off, you get to see them. You get to see everybody like smile, and they appreciate it so much. And it's just really, just always something that I've wanted to do.
As an orthodontist, you're going to be someone that people hate in the moment but appreciate later.
Yeah.
It's the reality of the job. Let's talk before we let you go back to the pool. You've already got the NEA championship. Talk about the things that are still on your goal list for this year and the goals that you still have for the rest of the swim season.
Um, for me, especially since sectionals is coming up in a couple weeks, my goal is to make it to districts in one or two events. Um, we're hoping our 400 relay gets to districts, and we're hoping we can get one other relay. And I would really love it if I was able to get in to districts for one of my individual events too.
All right, Noelle, before we let you go, we do this with every player profile we have. We want to take the time to take the light shined off you and let you turn into the people that support you in your life and the people that kind of have your back. I want to give you as much time as you want to give those shout outs out.
Oh my goodness. I really just would love to just shout out to my parents. They have always been my biggest supporters, other than my brothers. My little brother, every time I get home, he always asks me how I did. And shout out to all of my other teammates. I don't know if I definitely couldn't have done this alone. So it's definitely like shout out to them because this was a team thing. And shout out to Coach Aaron, even though, well, you're our coach. You, we mess with you sometimes, but shout out to you because we couldn't do this without you. And shout out to my grandparents because they come to everything for me. And I don't know what I'd do without them either.
All right, Noelle, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate the time. We wish you the best of luck the rest of the swim season. We can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.